friends, and welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to The Sims 4, and welcome to another speed build. We're doing, I think, the last, or maybe the second to last. I don't know what order these are coming out in. I built these the same weekend, so we'll see. But we're doing either the second to last or the last of the apartments on the penthouse lot. I am really excited about this one. I've kind of been affectionately calling this one the IKEA one, just because the whole inspiration behind this apartment was those fun magazines you used to get as a kid where they had the staged rooms in them. You'd have the fun living room, or a lot of them, especially around the fall, were dorm room style or teens room style, those kind of things. I think Pottery Barn had one. I know IKEA had one. There's a couple other, I think some businesses still do them. A lot of places obviously don't, because that's a lot of paper. But that kind of vibe, right? That sort of very eclectic but put together vibe was kind of what we were going for, with lots of colors that maybe you wouldn't normally pick, because most of the time maybe you don't go with pops of yellow in your kitchen or things like that, but it ends up working and you're really excited about it. That was kind of the vibe. And this is one of the 2-bedroom apartments. This is only 1 bathroom. The other one is 2-bedroom, 2-bath, but this one is 2-bedroom, 1-bath. And I do end up doing a kid's room, and kind of a teens room, I guess. I end up doing what I was kind of imagining a twin teens room, so that'll be really funny. I love the living room in this place, though. Honestly, I actually really like the kitchen too, which I was a little bit surprised about. I was a little bit worried about this layout, because it's kind of it almost turns your kitchen into a hallway, which I was do I really want a kitchen in a hallway? But I think it makes really good sense. It's good use of the space, and it may because of the peninsula or island part, it actually feels a lot bigger because you have a lot of seating area, and you do actually get a dining space in here, which I didn't think we were gonna get. I thought it was gonna be too tight. I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought it was gonna be a little tight to make it all work, but it really does come together. The only downside to this apartment is theoretically I have 3 or 4 people living in here and 1 bathroom, so But the thing about a 2-bedroom, 1-bath like this is it I have a bunch of Sims living here, that's kind of how I designed it. But you could turn that secondary bedroom into an office or a craft space or a hobby room and have a single Sim living here. You could have your high-powered attorney Sim here, or maybe your celebrity Sim lives here, and that secondary space is their get-ready room or their practice room. Maybe your YouTuber Sim lives here and they have a whole office space. Or you could have a Sim like me who's a software engineer but works from home, so you need an office. Or if you're me, you have a closet. I made a cloffice. I'm actually quite proud of it. It's pretty cool. Anywho's anyways, there's lots of things you could do with that second bedroom. I just styled it as a kid's room, or a teen's room technically, because I don't do a lot of kids rooms, which is weird. I feel I should do more family homes where I do actual kids rooms. I feel I kind of go through phases where I do a bunch of family homes and then I do a bunch of single dwelling ones. And I feel lately I've been in a single Sim dwelling, just because I think that's where I've been playing the most. I've been doing a lot of rags to riches, but I haven't done a lot of legacy lately. I kind of want to do a legacy. I just haven't had a lot of time, and what ends up happening is every time I load up the game, if I haven't loaded up a family in a really long time, I'll be do I really want to jump back into this, or do I want to start fresh? And I'm really bad about the want to start fresh thing. I really do want to set up a legacy though, so maybe I should do that. Here we're in the living room. It took forever for me to pick a couch. Give it time, because I kept I wanted big pops of color, but then it got a little matchy, and then it got so what happened was the couch I wanted to use matched too closely to the dining chairs, and I didn't want them to match, because I was I want this to be kind of eclectic and fun. And so then I ended up changing the dining chairs, and it kind of kept back and forthing until it kind of found its vibe. And then you're gonna watch me do something that I've been doing in every video lately, which is so crazy, is I size down the table, and then I spend too much of my life trying to get the slots to fill up so I can put stuff on the table. Craziness. I don't know why that's been my thing lately. You know why? It's because the Sims, God bless them, they make their tables huge. They make their coffee tables and their side tables massive, and then or really tiny, and there's no in between. And I'm I don't understand why we struggle so hard with the in between sizes, but we do. So anyways, I really wanted to use this palette, but it's kind of huge. It's actually not too bad, but in this apartment it was too much. It was it was too big for the room. So I ended up putting a plant on it kind of manually, but here you can see I'm just absolutely struggling. And it's so funny because these things these magazines, there's so many slots on it. It would be really cool if they gave us a way to just like toggle off slots. Like I love the slots, don't get me wrong, but it would be really cool if they gave us a way to just be like, don't slot, you know, like even just like a hotkey that's like, hey, maybe not right now. That would be so helpful. Oh my gosh, that would be so helpful. I was thinking about that today. I was like, what build things would I love to see that would be like attainable for the Sims team? Like, I don't think necessarily slots would be, although I don't know, maybe it wouldn't be that hard to just toggle on and off slots. But like everyone really wants a color wheel, and don't get me wrong, I also very much want the color wheel, but I was like, I don't know if the color wheel is attainable as like a build item, as like a build feature, because like that feels kind of like a foundation piece. I mean, I don't know their code base, maybe it'd be really easy, but like I feel like if my boss gave me that task, I'd be like, I don't know. It feels like a foundation piece, and we're 10 years on. I don't know how strong that foundation is anymore, you know? I don't, to be honest with you, don't know entirely how strong it was when they released this game, but shh, it's okay. So I was like, I don't know if we're ever gonna get a color wheel, but I was like, you know what thing I think would probably be relatively attainable that I would really like to see, that I bet nobody else cares about at all? That is, I would love to have the doors be toggleable open and close. Like, that feels like somewhat attainable, right? Maybe not. Maybe their door code is like absolutely heinous, but it feels like it wouldn't be that hard because they already have like the animation that swings it open in both directions. So like just having it toggle open, and like you could make it as complicated or as simple as you want, really, I think. But it'd be so nice because like I was thinking about like, you know, most of the time when I'm not like recording or actively in a meeting or something, even when I'm at work, a lot of times my office door is open. Well, my office, my room door, my room is multi-purpose. My room door is open. And if my family needs me or friends need me or whatever, they can just come pop their head in for a minute, you know, do a little side knock. Or like my brother, when he comes home from work, because he works a different shift than I do, you know, he'll often come just like lean in the doorway or like talk to me through the doorway. And I was like, you know, that's kind of a thing that the Sims aren't able to do. They're not able to like stand between rooms and have a conversation, and that feels like a very natural thing to do. And the other thing I was thinking about is like, as a kid growing up, we grew up on a dead-end road, so we were able to ride our bikes up and down quite a bit. And my dad used to just like pop open the garage door and the front door, and then he and my mom would be like doing stuff, and my brother and I'd be riding bikes up and down or chasing each other up and down, or, you know, chasing the dogs or whatever, dogs chasing us. And they could see us and like keep an eye on us and stuff, but like they were inside doing stuff. And I was like, how cool would it be to like have that like warm and cozy summer memory in The Sims, where like I could pop open one of the big slider doors or pop open their front door, and they could watch their kiddos out playing on the bike or something and still be inside doing things. It's silly, but it's like those kind of human moments that I really think this game would benefit from, and I would love to see, you know? So I was thinking about that. I was like, that'd be really cool. I don't know. Total tangent. I was just thinking about, I think it's because we were having a conversation not too long ago about like the fact that The Sims wants like 10 more years of content, Sims 4. And like part of me is excited about that because I've definitely sunk too much money and time into this game. So I'm like, there's part of me that's like, this game has my whole heart. Of course I'm excited to see like 10 more years of content. That's really, really cool. But there's also part of me that's like kind of spooked because like, what does that mean? You know, like, are they going to put a whole new foundation under this code and make it unplayable for those on older / weaker devices? Are they going to keep building on this foundation until it Sims 3 and collapses, you know? Like, I don't know. I'm really curious what their plans are. And obviously they're not going to tell us because, like, yeah, it doesn't make good business sense. But man, I want to know. Anyways, back to the build here. You can see I'm trying to do like a very clean palette, but like with lots of pops of color. Trying to get lots of texture in here. Texture has been my thing lately. And I'm trying to figure out how to do it in The Sims because it's really, like, we have pillows and stuff now, which help a ton, but it's kind of hard to get that, like, texture on texture vibe that happens. You know, like, in real life, I would throw, like, a throw on the couch and lots of throw pillows on the couch, and I would have, you know, just, like, little detritus around that makes a home. And it's getting easier in The Sims, but it's not always super easy in The Sims to get that done. So I've been playing around with how to make my homes feel a little bit more, like, homey, you know, a little less staged, a little more homey. I don't know if I hit that super well with this one. Maybe I did. We'll have to see. But that's kind of been the vibe lately. And here I am just doing what I thought was going to be a really simple kitchen, and then I made the terrible, no good, very bad mistake of thinking, what if I use the tile thingies again? And then, of course, they don't line up quite the way I want them because they never line up quite the way I want them. So I ended up having to size them down and manually place them, and I think I placed about 1,082 of them. That might be a gross understatement. And then, because I was especially, like, foolish. I decided after I placed them down that I wanted a different color. So then I had to go do every single one of 2,082,000. I had to change to a different color. Don't be like me. Pick your colors before you put them down. And don't be like me. Just live with the size. They don't need to be sized down like I did them. Although I will say this shower looks amazing. I do love it very, very much. So, although, spoiler alert for, actually, I don't know if I made it into the recording or not. I cannot remember. No, I think I made it into the recording. We'll have to see. It'll be a surprise for you and I built this about a week ago. I tried to put a light above the sink and it dorked up those tiles really bad. Like, the lighting on those was like bad. And I was like, are you serious? So, bear that in mind. I end up picking a light that doesn't do it too bad, but like, oof. And here I am putting a little fruit bin in. It's a really cool fruit bin. It just feels kind of big. So I did end up sizing it down. I do that with a lot of the kitchen stuff. I think it's just the cartoony style makes things bigger. Like sometimes it feels like the utensils in the container or like the fruits and stuff feel kind of big. So I end up sizing it down, but I love that little fruit basket, like the tiered fruit basket. Yeah, no, I think that's one of my new favorite items for kitchen clutter. It's pretty awesome here. And then we have to do this hallway, and I'm not gonna lie to you, hallways have been the bane of my existence lately. I just don't know what to do with them. Because like in real life, you hang smart and you call it good enough, but in The Sims, it feels kind of weird sometimes. And in an apartment like this, I wanted it to be like usable space. Like it felt kind of weird to just like not do anything. So I put some aprons there, and then I mess around with things on the wall. I think this moves a little bit because I had to move the door, if I recall. I ended up completely changing that because I wanted the door to be even in the room, but I didn't decide that in that room on the other side. But I didn't decide that soon enough. So I do all the art out here and then have to change it. It's fine. It's part of an iterative process. Yeah, and then just trying to find a runner. I wish we had more runners that piecemealed, like a couple of them do, but the ones that do are like really fancy. So I wish we had more runners that piecemeal. That's not a huge deal, but it would be nice if they did make it just a little bit easier. And here I'm trying to figure out what on earth goes on the wall. I ended up just going pretty generic. Like there's not a lot to this hallway, but just trying to make it useful space. And here's the kids' room. I really love the way this turned out. There's like a little bit here. Like there's some fussing about it that has to happen. But then it starts to come together and there's like a little bit of a girlier side, a little bit of like artist and fairy lights and very like kind of, I guess, maybe you're like stereotypical Hollywood teenage girl, and then on the other side there's like the typical Hollywood tomboy teenage girl, where it's a little bit more like gaming and music and then I tried to split it up. And I will tell you that like I left it in here because I feel like multiple of you are smart enough to make work what I couldn't make work. I was playing around with like curtains and stuff. It took forever and I think I ended up abandoning like several reasonable ideas that I just couldn't make work. So I'm hoping that it will inspire some of you incredibly smart people to do what I simply could not. Because that is always the thing, is like when I have a really good idea and I can't make it work, or what I perceive to be a really good idea and I can't make it work, I'm always like, I should just leave this in and then someone smarter than I can make this happen. The only thing I couldn't do in this room, I couldn't figure out how to make it work, is I wanted each girl to have their own dresser. There are girls in my head that in the family, like I was thinking about, you could put whoever you want in this room. But in my head it was twin girls. Anyways, I wanted them both to have their own dresser, obviously, right? Because otherwise you're gonna fight over it. And then I really wanted them to have like seating areas. That didn't really happen. They end up both with a desk and a thing. It is actually quite a small room to shove two teenagers into. I think it's fine because the windows make it seem bigger and we did the bunk bed, so we were able to get some of our floor space back. But because you have to be so careful with how the bunk beds work, I can't shove stuff under there. Because what I would have considered doing is like putting a tall skinny dresser in there and then like a beanbag or something. But you can't do multiple things like that. Like the bunk beds are really fussy. If you put anything under that isn't like slotted in, they just don't work. And it's really unfortunate. Like it pretty much has to be slotted in. And even then, sometimes you slot things in and it still doesn't work. So they both have a dresser, they both have a desk space, they both have their little like bed areas. And I think that's good enough. There's just not quite like a hangout space. But maybe in your gameplay, your twins will decide they want like bunk beds to be like bunk beds. And then they'll make like a hangout space on the other side of their room. Like they'll consolidate. That could really work. Or maybe like the parent will decide to give up the big room for them and come in here and then like they can have the bigger room and then still have like their hangout space and their desk space and stuff. And they can split the room if they want to do it that way too. There's a lot of options you could do with gameplay. This is just how I set up the starting room, and honestly, like, it's kind of a cool room. Like, if you're gonna be a teenager in the middle of like downtown, you know your room's gonna be kind of tiny, but this is a pretty cool room for like downtown. I think my favorite side is the tomboy side. I really like the cool gray color palette, which is somewhat shocking because I don't like gray. In general, I am not a big gray person. There are actually certain instances in which I really like gray, and actually I just happened to look down and the pair of pants that I'm wearing are literally the color of the desk. That like kind of charcoaly blue, sort of blue gray, for lack of a better term. I'm literally wearing that color right now, so clearly I like that color. And I like a warm gray when done right. I think it's just because I grew up in a place that was so gray. I grew up outside of Seattle, predominantly, and so like I think I just spent so much of my time with gray buildings under a gray sky, you know, that kind of thing, that it really got to the point where I was like, you know, I got like a little over it. So yeah, here I am. Okay, here's the idea that I wanted you guys to like do better than I did. I really wanted like cute curtains so that they each had their own little space. Like that was like the parental's way of like splitting them up a little bit. But no matter how I did it, it just didn't look right. Like even now I'm like not completely happy with it because I ended up lining them up like this without a wall because they were like too far into the rooms or into the like little makeshift hallway when I did them with the wall. But like doing them freehand kind of made them weird too. And then I wanted to do different ones, but I ended up ultimately giving up. I was like, whatever, you guys can have the same curtain. I'm not that plussed about it. But it just, I don't know. It was just, I couldn't get it to work. Like, no matter what I did, I just couldn't quite get it to work. It was just, it's fine. Like, and I think I leave it because it is fine. But it could be finer. So let me know how you would do that. Because I feel like there's got to be a smarter way to do this. Did I take it all out? I possibly do. Okay, now definitely tell me how to do this. Because very clearly I got annoyed and didn't end up finishing it. Maybe I do just put the wall dividers in here. But how would one do that? Because wouldn't that be cool to have curtains, like split one big long room into two rooms? Wouldn't that be such a neat idea? How would you make that work? I couldn't get it to work. But I want to get it to work. So I don't know. Tell me how you would have done it, please. Please share your knowledge. And here I'm just doing like the like slightly girlier side of the room. The pinks, the pastels, the yellows. Just a little bit more like pastel pop vibe. A little bit more like maybe aesthetic Instagram kind of vibe. Also really like this room. Could also see myself being really happy on this side of the room too. Both of these I would like totally love. Not enough stuffed animals to be honest with you on either one for teenage me. Teenage me would not even probably be able to crawl in the bed fully because too many stuffed animals. And my mom would be like, you don't need that many. And I'd be like, for sure. But every single one of them is a sentimental gift. So we're just like, you know, holding on to all of them. And even as an adult, I am now 29 as of a couple weeks ago, and I can tell you I still have too many stuffed animals and it's still a problem. Still a problem. Honestly will probably always be a problem. I really don't see that changing. So getting some art up on the walls. I did a little bit more like curated art on that side, a little bit more like posteries on the tomboy side just because I thought it fit a little bit better. Cowhide rug, but in teal because of course I really like that rug. I've really fallen in love with that rug lately. I think it's cute. And then fought with the blinds for forever because of course we did. But I did just want like simple blinds because if you're a teenager, especially in a city like this, you're just gonna want your privacy. And I thought they'd be easy enough to pull down behind the desks and stuff. Let's be real, because of the Sims and the way it is, that looks like it's gonna come crashing into the desk, and it probably would. But in real life, you'd have them set up in such a way where it like didn't crash into your desk every time, and it'd be fine. Also, how cool would it be to have your desk up against the window like that, where you could just watch people? I would get nothing done. Ever. I would get nothing done ever. I had this desk underneath my window in this room. The only saving grace was the window was tall enough I couldn't see unless I stood up. I will say though, it's like murder on the eyes because you're backlit, so you're staring at like this bright light all the time. That hurts. That hurts quite a bit. And then we're into the parents' room, and the parents' room, or like the adults' room, or like just the main bedroom, whatever you want to call it, was a fight. It was a struggle. I ran out of like ideas here. Basically, I was like, I don't know what, I knew kind of what I wanted it to look like, but I was struggling to get it to translate in The Sims. So this is definitely a trust of the process moment here, because Yeah, it takes a while. I like the way it turned out. I'm really, really happy with the way it turned out. But it's a trust the process moment. Faux show. Especially with the bedding and stuff. Like, it takes a little bit. And I was trying to match woods, and I sometimes get into that headspace of, like, needing to match woods. And I should know better than that, because nothing in the Sims matches. So I should just know better at this point. But honestly, I think it kind of works, though, because it is kind of like a very calm, chilled out space compared to some of the rest of the house, which is a little bit brighter. But can you imagine being, like, a mom and her daughters in this apartment? That feels like a work. Like, she's working, like, some sort of high-powered job, maybe, and her kiddos are going to, like, an art school. That'd be kind of a fun story to tell. I feel like there's lots you could do here with this apartment, and I like the vibe. And even if you like the vibe but you don't have kids or something, you could still match the vibe and change the rooms out. I do think that's really, really fun. I'm really happy with how this one turned out, I think, overall. And it's a nice place to, like, end this, like, little series. Oh, I guess not completely, because we do need to do the lobbies. I was gonna, like, maybe leave them off, but then I had this idea to maybe change the roof line and put, like, an outdoor space on the roof. Jury's still out on whether or not I'm gonna do that, but we might do the lobby and outdoor spaces, because I think that would be fun. And then, like, the whole lot could go up. Which, I mean, it'll go up either way, whether I film that or not. But I do have some ideas to make the lobby kind of fun, too, because I like the idea of all of the Sims in this building, like, hanging out. I've also debated actually making Sims to play in this lot, like, that all have, like, backstories and stuff, and then, like, doing a video to introduce you all to them. That's also, like, maybe a thing that might happen, because I'm really proud of this lot. I really like all of the, like, detail that's been in this lot. I really like all of the, like, little story points just in the builds. I'm really, really proud of that. I've been really working on that, trying to add little, like, story moments to the builds and stuff. So hopefully that's coming through. Hopefully you guys are seeing that a little bit with that. And this dark color on the walls here, I don't keep for forever. I do think I end up making a little bit lighter, and it changes the whole vibe of the room, and I think it's correct, which is nice. But it does take me a little while to decide if I like it or not. The other thing about this apartment that's kind of fun is the only computers are in the kids' room. So if your adult Sim needs to use a computer, they're probably going to have to be on a laptop in the kitchen, like, because you have that big peninsula, right? So you could hook it up, like, just set it up there. That will work. Computers work up there. Or you could put it on the dining table. Otherwise, you'd have to put a desk in the main bedroom, I think. So you'd have to, like, move the chair, I think, right? Like, in here. You'd have to, like, yeah, I think you'd have to put the desk in here if you wanted your adult Sim to have, like, their own computer. And yes, I pulled up the Batu lights. I really wanted to use the Batu lights. The problem with the Batu lights in a build like this is it's medium wall height, and those you kind of need to size down to make them look more normal, but then they're too short, right? Because they're kind of, like, built for medium wall height, but they're big because they're meant to be, like, industrial. But I like the patina on them, and I like that they kind of have, like, an old vintagey look. When you size them down, they're kind of fun. They give almost like a quirky 70s vibe. The problem is when you're medium wall height, they just simply don't work. Here's the lighter color. I knew it was coming up. Doesn't it make it so much better? Oh my goodness. And then just some simple paintings on the wall to try to keep that, like, Zen spa vibe. I'm really in love with this wallpaper lately. Can you tell this, like, feature wall? I think that's an Enchanted by Nature wall, but it might not be. But I've really fallen in love with this wall. I've used it in, like, every build, in, like, all of its variants too. Really love that wall. And here I'm just adding a couple more quick things to the main space. Needed light there. I think I end up trying to, yeah, this is where I fight with the light. So spoiler alert, those tiles do not like messing with the light. Like, no matter what you do, they end up being weird. And I think some of it is the divider too. It's that fluted glass divider, which I adore from Sleep Bathroom Kit. But it just made the lighting weird, no matter what I do. So anyways, you'll see me here fighting with that. But it's, I think it turns out okay. If I recall, I end up putting, like, yeah, I think I put this little wood guy, but, like, sized down. So it's nice and bright in there, but sized down. But anyways, my goodness, I've been talking your whole ear off. And so here's the screenshots, and I think I'm just going to let you be with them. I hope you're having a good day and feeling loved. And if you're not feeling loved, a reminder that I love you. I'm glad you exist. I'm glad you're here hanging out. You make the world, the whole world, but my world especially, very, very wonderful to live in. And I'm so grateful you're here and you exist. Next up, I don't know, because I'm going to be honest with you, I'm pre-recording a little bit because I'm going out of town, and then it's a whole new ball game when I get back, so we'll see what's up with that. But anyways, guys, I think that's all I got. Okay, love you, bye! Mwah.